Okie dokie, welcome to this version of Beer Chat. We're gonna look at some videos today. And let me get the pop-out chat. And there we have the pop-out chat. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do this like I normally would like to, but well, hell. Let's just minimize you, and let's put up another window here, and YouTube. So, I've got a playlist here of videos that we're going to take a look at. And we're going to go with
beer that's as refreshing
Steve
as
Shive.
People's
5
summer
insidious things about fucking prison
Slavery
labor.
ended in the United States in 1865, right? Well, here are 5 insidious things about prison labor. Number 1, it was the lone exception to abolition. A while ago,
Yes, because these people were their freedoms were taken away because they committed a fucking crime.
I did one of these videos about modern-day slavery where I talked about things like child trafficking that do exist here in the United States.
Yes, and it's illegal. Highly illegal.
But which are illegal and conducted underground.
Yeah.
However, there is still one form of slavery that is completely lawful and practiced right out in the open.
Oh,
we don't call it slavery, we call it penal labor. Section 1.
Okay, to become a penal laborer, you have to have committed a crime. What should we do with people who mow down 36 kids? And there's no death penalty in the state. What should prisoners do? Just sit in their ass all day?
1 of the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution reads, "Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction."
Yeah, they committed a crime.
What's so bad about that? If someone is convicted of a crime after due process, why shouldn't the state be able to compel them to do labor for the duration of their sentence, provided it doesn't cross the line to cruel and unusual punishment?
It seems okay to me, but I'm sure you're going to have a counter-argument.
Inmates work to allow the state to mitigate the costs of providing them room and board, or to pay back society for their crimes. It sounds reasonable in principle, but it's the way in which penal labor exists in practice where we start to run into some issues.
Okay, will you get
to
the point?
Number 2, it promotes incarceration as a solution to social problems. The danger of relying on prison labor too much is that...
Okay, what do we exactly rely on prison labor for, Steve? I'm curious. What? License plates? Yeah, we don't really rely on it for a whole lot.
That incarceration comes to be viewed not as a means of protecting society from dangerous individuals or rehabilitating or punishing offenders, but as a for-profit enterprise. You can't expect to address the problems of...
Okay, look, and I have an issue with for-profit prisons. I think they should be outlawed. I don't think a private company should have a private prison. That being said, though, what are we supposed to do with prisoners, Steve? Again, keep them in their cell 23 hours a day?
Of any society simply by locking up the lawbreakers and leaving it at that.
Okay, what's your solution?
Solving social problems requires change, not just from those convicted of crimes, but institutionally, at all levels. That kind of change takes effort and time. And while we're...
And do you have any suggestions? I mean, we could go back to where basically the prescribed punishment for almost all crimes was hanging. We could go back there.
For waiting, there are plenty of companies who are only too happy to take advantage of the large and inexpensive labor force provided by the prison population of the United States.
That looks fine.
Number 3, it's exploited by private industry. So maybe you do some research and you decide that you are not okay with the way prison labor currently works in the United States.
I'm fine with it.
And maybe you decide that until something is done to correct that situation, you're just not going to do business with companies that use prison labor. Well, good for you. And good luck with that. Goods and services produced by prisoners are everywhere. Among the mainstream...
Again, what the fuck are we supposed to do? And again, these people had their day in court. They were found guilty of a crime. What do you want us to do, Steve? What should they be doing in prison?
Companies which take advantage of penal labor are McDonald's, Walmart, Sears,
How the fuck does McDonald's take advantage of it?
Microsoft, Nintendo, Starbucks, UPS, AT&T, and Verizon, and there are dozens and dozens more. These prisoners aren't stamping license plates or paving roads. They're producing commercial products to be sold by privately owned for-profit companies. And they're being paid almost nothing, while the
Well, yes, that's part of the punishment.
Companies who exploit them
For the crime that they committed.
Reap the fruits of their labor.
Actually, Steve, they really don't. And I could argue that you are just as much at fault for this as everyone else, because all the American consumers have demanded goods be cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. Well, you can only slash out so much from materials. Eventually, you have to go with labor. And honestly, what is the big deal? These people are not just rounded up and thrown in prison. They broke the fucking law. Again, what is your solution?
Number 4, it incentivizes incarceration.
Well, hell, actually, no, it doesn't. The drug war does. When a child molester can get out after serving 6 months, we have a problem.
Incarceration is a short-term treatment for some of the symptoms of much deeper problems. It's not a solution to those underlying problems in and of itself. Unfortunately,
okay, Steve, do you have a solution? What is your plan? You keep whining and bitching about all this shit. What the fuck is your plan?
Unfortunately, fixing the problems of society usually takes a back seat when there's money to be made.
Yes, evil capitalistic money. Even though everything you fucking have, Steve, comes from capitalism, including your little stupid pen.
Prison labor is a separate issue from prison privatization, but the two are related, and both fall under the umbrella of the so-called...
Look, again, I disagree with private prisons. But the sad fact of the matter is, what are we supposed to do with these inmates? Again, let them languish in prison doing nothing? Well, that creates problems too, Steve.
Prison industrial complex. And whether we're talking about privately owned prisons that rely on government contracts or prisons, both private and state operated, hiring out their inmates to companies for cheap labor, turning penitentiaries into profit-generating entities creates an incentive to keep them full.
No, actually, they don't have to do that. The mandatory sentences for nonviolent drug offenders did that. Okay? Again, when a rapist serves less time than a guy who was caught with 3 dime bags worth of pot, there's a problem. Okay? Minimum sentencing and minimum time served are the problems keeping them in there. I don't think nonviolent drug offenders should go to prison. But again, they're in prison for a reason. Okay, a lot of them are in there for a good reason. What the fuck should they be doing while they're in there, Steve? You haven't brought this up yet.
What hope is there for efforts to reform the criminal justice system and address the injustices and inequalities that have caused the American prison population to skyrocket over?
It's not injustice, it's not inequality, it's the stupid fucking drug war. Which, by the way, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton expanded exponentially. Now, yes, Ronald Reagan and George Bush did too. But you really want to deal with prison population and the fucking drug war?
Over the last 40 years, when the government and the private sector each have vested interests in keeping that prison population as large and as productive as possible. Speaking of those inequalities,
they don't have to, Steve. Stupid fucking drug laws do that.
Part and parcel of something which our modern institution of prison labor has in common with its 19th century predecessor. Number 5, it's an instrument of white supremacy. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Oh,
the American prison population is 40% black and 20% Hispanic.
Yes, because they're committing most of the goddamn crime. Also, those guys working out in the field are farming food for the prison.
The private companies who benefit from the labor of those prisoners are overwhelmingly controlled by whites, as are...
Oh yes, the evil white supremacy. There's no black prison guards, no Hispanic prison guards, no female prison guards. Yeah, you know, a lot of people in prison deserve to be in prison. Okay? Not all of them. I don't think nonviolent drug offenders should be in prison. I've always said, if you want to go and fucking get fucked up and shoot up heroin, that's your goddamn business.
Are the federal, state, and local governments under whose authority those prisons operate. Even prisoners who are doing more traditional, non-commercial penal labor are working under the dark, unmistakable shadow of slavery. For example, in the state of Louisiana,
they're not slaves. Slaves are people that are forced to work for nothing and have committed no crime. These people have committed crimes and have been proven in a court of law beyond a reasonable doubt. I love this. You're almost like that fucking Los Angeles mayor who was like, we need to express a debt of gratitude for prisoners serving time. No, I don't. What the fuck put them in prison?
Which has the highest incarceration rate of any jurisdiction in the world.
And it must be racist in Louisiana because that's in the South.
Prisoners work in the Capitol and the governor's mansion, cooking, cleaning, tending the grounds, all under the watchful eyes of white overseers for the convenience of upper-class white officials.
God. The governor's mansion, the state capitol are public grounds. And I love how you drug this picture up from the 60s. Funny, I don't see a bullwhip in any of their hands. Steve, there's a big difference between prison labor and slave labor. Okay? What did this guy do to become prison labor? For all you know, he murdered and raped 10 women.
Yes, this all looks very familiar. The hardest part is picking only 5.
Fuck you. Just fuck you. Again, you're such a whiny feminist cuck. You probably think that guys that murder women should be just put to death. But oh no. If we just send them to prison, if they take a plea deal, we send them to prison for 50 fucking years. Oh, we what? Have to fucking give them foot massages and um fucking spaghetti bolognese? Fuck you, Steve. You fucking worthless little pathetic whiny cuck. What the fuck would you do if some guy raped your wife? You'd probably want revenge. Okay? You wouldn't give a flying fuck what they did to that guy. Fuck you. Stupid, dumb, bearded faggot.
It doesn't have
fuck.
to be stunningly expensive. This redo, totally doable for less than you think. Discover Vanity starting at just $169, only at the Home
Alrighty. Now we're gonna listen to Rachel Ray.
I know you love burgers. I do too. So my question for you: if you could create the ultimate burger, what would it be?
I don't think there's any one definition for that. I make burgers out of everything. I literally wrote a book called The Book of Burger, and the burger is glowing on the front, sort of like the book of...
Okay, answer the bitch's question without hawking your own fucking products. You stupid, dumb New York fucking dyke cunt.
of Mormon. You know, I get really creative with burgers. I try and make burgers for my friends that don't eat meat. Like I make swordfish burgers, ground shrimp burgers, tuna burgers.
I'm gonna help you mix your meat if that's okay. I hope you don't mind.
Why? You don't think I'm capable of it?
Well, I thought I would get a little dirty. You want to mix your own meat?
You noticed I didn't jump up.
Yeah.
I'm like, is he attacking me? What is he doing?
So Rachel's got 3 worthless cucks, and she's not answering the young lady's question and not giving her any good advice.
I had things I wanted to tell people about the mixing of this meat.
Okay.
Would you like to mix ketchup?
Sure. That's nice.
Okay. I like to put balsamic ketchup on these. I make balsamic...
Okay, now, to be fair, I don't know if the video cut off before she actually answered the goddamn question. Here's the thing, though. She didn't answer the question, and she gave her some very bad advice. If you're going to make burgers out of, like, swordfish and tuna... Now, typically, I've never made burgers out of swordfish, because I like the steaks. But if you're going to make... I've never made shrimp burgers either. But if you're going to make it out of that, you have to have a binding agent. She didn't bother to tell her that. Otherwise, the motherfucker will crumble. Now, if you're working with chicken, you don't need the binding agent because it's sticky as a fucking wet whore at low tide. But you need, like, breadcrumbs. You need something a little gravelly. You need the one gay sailor off the ship who the wet whore can't fucking entice. With beef and pork, yeah, they're perfect burger meats because the fat's the glue. You can still add an egg if you like, especially if you're making leaner burgers. But no, if you're making it out of a super lean meat like buffalo or bison or a lot of fish, you need a fucking binder. Like, I don't get where this woman is again, it's one of those stupid things of I don't get where she gets. If you're a TV chef, apparently you're a fucking guru, even though half the time you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
To the comb, combing that honey.
Oh my god, I forgot about the fucking ad.
Put in the good, and the good will grow. Good goes around and around and around. Hey, good goes around and around.
Your song sucks.
Interesting news.
Okay, let's check the chat. Oh, for fuck's sake, Steve would let. I don't think he'd let somebody rape his wife, but Steve would definitely let someone fuck his wife while he's in the corner crying. That's why somebody asked me once, would I ever have sex with Steve Shy's wife? I was like, no, because I know Steve will be there in the corner, naked with a cock cage on, crying because he's a fucking cock. So. I will say I like this new camera. I've only got one light burn, and normally I've got 4. But actually, it doesn't look too bad in this low light. So, let's see. I got a few of you. I hate fucking live streaming on this channel. But I kind of have to. I love everyone that went over, and well, in truth, I didn't give any notice for this live stream, but yeah, thank you, Cynthia G. You fucking dumb fucking cunt. Well, actually, I don't even know if she did it. One of her fucking cunt fans did. Anyway, this is the Young Turks, Bernie Sanders 2020.
Coming out of the Hill and many other places, Senator Bernie Sanders, they explain, who battled Hillary Clinton in the 2016 Democratic primary and created a revolutionary movement among millennials, is having discussions about running for president again.
You want a man who will be almost 80, if not 80, to be running the fucking country? Also, Democratic Socialist is a socialist, and socialism sucks. You guys will be hit worse by this. The last time I checked, the Young Turks was a corporation.
So let's give you more details.
Wonder how you'll be doing when Bernie taxes you at 90%.
Jeff Weaver, former Bernie Sanders campaign manager, saying, quote, he's keeping the door open. Da-da-da-da.
Personally, I wish he'd keep it closed. I wish he'd retire, and I wish he'd shut the fuck up.
Bernie Sanders' associate saying, is he considering running for president? Quote, yes is the answer. How's that for clear? That same associate continues. He thinks he's earned the right to run again, and he believes if he would have been the Democratic candidate, he would have won against Trump, given that he had a 12-point lead on election day.
Maybe. I mean, maybe, but maybe not. Remember, all you leftist faggots were so sure you were going to win on election night, a lot of you didn't show up to vote. So, but no, Bernie Sanders, I don't really take political stances one way or the other, usually. I mean, when have I ever actually endorsed a candidate one way or the other? I really haven't. But if Bernie Sanders runs, I will fight against him. Fuck you, Bernie Sanders, and fuck your democratic socialism. It's just fucking socialism, and it fails every fucking time it's been tried. It's a failed system. You don't give a fuck about that, though. You're just looking to secure your spot in the history books. Because you're 80, you know you're going to die soon.
That certainly is far more likely than what happened with Hillary Clinton. There's no doubt about that. One more quote from that same associate. The last thing he's going to do is step aside and let Joe Biden take it. So, of course, why should he? He's the most popular politician in the country.
Yeah, that's because a bunch of dumb SJW millennial dick-face cock-sucking fuckfaces support socialism but don't know what the fuck it is. They can't define it. They think it's just everybody is equal and happy and wonderful and great and it's anti-capitalist and it sucks. Yes, under socialism we're all equal. We're all equally miserable.
On what planet should the most popular guy step aside for people who are less popular?
Because he goes against American values. Just not for nothing, but he does.
That doesn't make any sense at all in the context of politics. But to be fair, there is that age issue. Whereas Joe Biden's a spring chicken. Oh no, right, Joe Biden's only 1 year younger than Bernie Sanders. So if you think Bernie Sanders shouldn't run because of age, you should immediately pressure Joe Biden to get out of the race. Funny how no one is doing that. Isn't that weird? How no one brings up Joe Biden's age, even though they're pretty much the same age? Huh. It's almost like they don't like Bernie Sanders and are making up excuses, almost.
I don't like Bernie Sanders because he's a dangerous lunatic that wants to introduce socialism to my country. Do you really think you're going to be better off with Bernie Sanders, Young Turks? Actually, point of fact, I have a question for you. Can you actually define fucking socialism?
I've got more on that in a little bit. But is he running? Well, there's a lot of telltale signs. Earlier this month, he...
Personally, I wish he choked to death on a fucking grapefruit.
Traveled to Iowa for the first time since losing the state's caucus.
I said I wish. That's not violent. That's not hate speech. And that's not making a threat.
To Clinton during the Democratic primary, he gave a keynote address at an event sponsored by the Iowa Citizens for Community Improvement. Look, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that you go to Iowa if you're running for president. No one else goes to Iowa. Kidding, good people of Iowa, I'm kidding. Anyway, so Sanders goes to Iowa. Then, next month, he'll return to the state again to promote his book, Bernie Sanders, Guide to Political Revolution.
Yeah, right before his wife gets sent to prison.
That is Running for President 101. You go to Iowa, you come up with a new book. He just wrote Our Revolution's got a new book. He's running for president. It's super.
And I will do every fucking thing I can to make sure he doesn't get it. Donald Trump is not the gravest threat I've ever imagined. He's incompetent and he's a fucking idiot and he's a blowhard and he acts like a petulant child, but he's not dangerous. Bernie Sanders is fucking dangerous. I've read what he wants to do on his own fucking website. I love this when people say, well, just read what Bernie Sanders wants to do. I fucking have! I've read it! He has no way to pay for it. He has, outside of outlawing private businesses and making all business the property of the government, which is the goal of socialism. I'm sorry, but it doesn't fucking work. I mean, he supports a minimum wage of like $30 an hour. Fucking hell.
Obvious. And they're not trying to hide it. Larry Cohen, top advisor to Bernie Sanders for a long time, now with Our Revolution, says, I can speak for the millions of people who supported him.
This revolution dies. Sorry, capitalism made this country great. I'm not going to fucking turn it over to a senile, demented, socialist fucking dimwit.
And saying we would love it.
For fuck's sakes, he honeymooned in the USSR.
If he runs again, and we're hopeful he'll run again. So that is very normal, and that doesn't necessarily give you the mindset of Bernie Sanders, but it certainly says that if he were to run again, his top advisors and the millions of people who were fond of him are like...
the millions of people that are fond of him have never paid taxes.
Likely to support him. That's why the Democratic establishment is in a panic right now.
And the reason you like him is, I don't know why, because you'd be state-run media at that point, Jank. You stupid son of a bitch.
Another Bernie Sanders associate says he's keeping almost the same schedule that a presidential candidate would keep. He's doing more travel, more rallies, more for the DNC than anyone else.
Oh, fuck this. I can't handle it. I just wish this fucking old, useless, washed up piece of shit fucking goddamn socialist son of a sack bitch would just fucking retire, move to fucking Vermont, live your fucking life in your fucking $1 million home or whatever the fuck you live in, and shut the fuck up! Socialism sucks. Capitalism rocks. Now, what do I base this on? Well, let's see. Every time we've tried socialism as a species, it's failed. Capitalism brought us out of basically a semi-sophisticated medieval society to right now, to the iPhone. Okay? Capitalism propelled everything. And I'm not going to let this fucking geriatric, demented fuck, who's never worked a day in his fucking useless life, destroy all that, wreck capitalism, just so he can bring in his democratic socialism, which is fucking socialism. Bernie Sanders, oh my God, will you just fucking fuck off? Attend your wife's trial and piss off. God, I hate you. All right, let's move to this next video.
Long story short,
I'm going to have to turn the volume down on this one. This is Louis Giglio. I did a thing with him years ago with some fucking Christian YouTuber. After George Carlin died, he gave this guy his 10 Commandments thing, and I ripped it apart. You know, I basically said, you're going to trash Carlin, I'm going to trash your guy.
Tour was winding down last time around. We were
Actually, I think that was the title of the video. You trash Carlin, so I'm going to trash your guy.
in Tyler, Texas. The night was over. A guy walks up to me. I wish I could tell you the whole story. It was so of God. Introduces himself to me, says,
really, it's of God. Some guy introduces himself, and that's of God. Of God! It is of God!
how are you doing? I just want to say hello. I said, it's nice to meet you. He says, you guys winding the tour down. Where are you going to go from here? I said, well, I'm on my way back home to Atlanta, Georgia. He said, well, what's next for you? I said, I'm going to be preaching the next 2 Sundays for my pastor back in Atlanta. He said, oh, cool. What are you preaching on? I said, well, the series is on the glory of God in the human body. He said, that's really amazing. I'm a molecular biologist at the university down the road.
A molecular biologist is a Christian. This is where we're going to take a little break. I will look at the chat and see where we're at with shit. And I'll answer a few questions, and then we'll get into Louis' fucking video. All right, I have to go pee. All right, let's get a few of these thingy-maboppers out of the way. Can I respond to Mr. Dapperton's anarcho-capitalist video? S-Man, if you fucking give me the thing in the chat, what the hell? I'll do it right now. Seriously, get me the link, and I'll put it up, and I'll do it right here, right now. How am I doing today? I am doing great, Beastie Man. I am doing fucking great. Except I need another beer. So, really quick, are there any questions the chat has? But yeah, S-Man, if you give me that thing, I'll tell you what, I haven't seen it. I'll do a live I will do a live raw goddamn reaction to that motherfucker. All right. Since nobody popped up with a question, I'm going to go back to Louis.
Give me
and how this is of God.
Your talk. And I was like, oh, wow, I wasn't quite yet ready to unload the talk for a molecular biologist. So I kind of stumbled through what I had, and he's kind of being kind and gracious and like, that's good. And then he says, well, what's your big left hook? You got to have a left hook, a big finish, right? I said, I don't have a left hook yet. He said, oh, Louis. Oh, man, your left hook is laminin.
What the fuck is laminin?
And I'm totally blank on laminin. He goes, Louis, it's a cell adhesion molecule. Protein molecule?
Okay.
Do you know about proteins? I'm like, no. He said, Louis, cells organize into certain molecular structures, and that determines what protein there are. There are between 10 and 60,000 proteins in the human body. We don't even know how many proteins are in the human body. But one of them is a cell adhesion molecule. It's organized into this certain structure, and that tells the cell what its job is in the body. And this one is a cell adhesion molecule. And I'm like, all right. He said, no, Louis, it's like the rebar of the human body. The steel they put in the concrete when they lay the foundations of things, it's that stuff. It's holding your...
Louis, how many fucking cups of coffee did you have?
Membranes together. It's the glue of the human body, Louis. It's laminin. You got to tell them about laminin. And I'm like, I promise you, I'm going home and tell them about laminin. And I'm sure when I do, revival is going to sweep across the church and probably around the world when I tell them.
No, it won't.
He said, no. You got to see laminin. I'm like, okay, let's see it.
Okay, are you sure you just didn't meet a crazy person?
He said, no. You need to go look it up online. You need to go Google laminin. I don't even know how to...
Oh! Wonderful research. This molecular biologist couldn't educate you on laminin enough. He said, well, you got to go Google it. Really? Okay, I'm starting to doubt your molecular biologist. That he couldn't give you a lecture about laminin. Whatever the fuck laminin is.
Spell laminin. Takes his card out. He writes on the back, L-A-M-I-N-I-N. I'm like, okay, I cannot wait to get to my...
And I'll probably do a separate video on whatever the fuck laminin is.
Computer and get on Google, click on images, type in laminin, and I'm waiting, and these little thumbnails come up on the screen, and I'm like, wow, that's laminin? The cell adhesion molecule. Woo! I am so excited. I am beside myself.
Well, yeah, nature is not as stupid as you Christians make it out to be.
I cannot believe what I'm seeing. I love laminin. I'm so fired up.
What the fuck is it?
You should see laminin, I guess. That's the thing, right? Okay. Here is a scientific diagram of the laminin cell adhesion molecule that's holding your body together right now, okay? This is what I found right here.
Oh, for Christ's sakes. Really? Really? That wasn't done at all. That wasn't done up at all, really. Your one particular faith and your one particular God worshiping in the one particular way is wrote into our fucking cells. Look, I know coincidences are rare, but I'm going to throw that in there as a coincidence. Assuming this picture is real. Because you are aware, Louis, you're atheist of about 99% of all the gods that have come before you and after you. Okay, assuming that picture's real. I know what you're getting at. That really. then why did Christianity take so fucking long to get here? I mean, we've had it far less than, we didn't have it. I mean, Christianity came about, fuck it, let's just go 2,000 years ago. It was a little bit, it's a little bit younger than that, but let's just go with about 2,000 years. Okay, for everything before that, and Judaism is about 4,000 to 5,000 years old. Long before that, we were all polytheistic. Okay? You figure if God wants us to all be Christians, and he wrote it into our fucking DNA, he would have just pre-programmed us to go, oh yeah, that makes sense. This boy born in a manger in the middle of Jerusalem or wherever the fuck, visited by 3 wise men. My God, he is the Son of God.
No, come on, that's crazy. That's just crazy.
No, it's called a coincidence. And you idiots eat it up.
I just can't believe it. I emailed that guy back so fast, I'm like, wow, 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 what in the world? He said, you want to see an actual laminin molecule? I'm like, oh no, man, the diagram was cool for me. I'm happy with that. Don't bother sending anything else. I'm like, yes! And he sends me this image, an electron microscopic image of an actual laminin protein molecule. It looks just like this.
Okay, I can find pentagrams and stars of David, and you have nothing. You have a coincidence. That's it. That's all. This doesn't prove God. This doesn't prove the divinity of Jesus Christ. Fuck it now. There's a lot of viruses that have that exact same structure, too. Some of them are fairly deadly.
I'm like, how crazy is that? That the stuff that holds our bodies together, that's holding the lining of your organs together, holding your skin on, is in the perfect shape of the cross of our Lord Jesus Christ. And immediately I'm thinking about the words of Paul in Colossians 1. You know this beautiful passage where Paul's talking about the supremacy of Christ and the sufficiency of Christ. He says, for by him, talking about Jesus Christ, all things have been created. Things in heaven and things on earth. All things were created by Jesus and for Jesus.
Really? Then why the fuck did the world spend thousands of years in ignorance of Jesus? If this is built into our DNA, if literally Jesus is the building block that's holding us up as this jackass likes to say, why isn't Christianity swept over the world? Why are we not inherently waiting for this? Why? This is a little stupid. What you have is a coincidence, and that doesn't mean shit.
But then the next verse goes on to say this. It's crazy. And he, Jesus, is before all things, and in him, that is, in Jesus Christ, all things hold together.
Yeah, you cherry-picked a verse on a lucky find. What about all the laminin that's going the other way? I mean, all this protein doesn't go one way. It goes the other, which is the upside-down cross, which is the symbol of the devil. What is that? Just your evil half? I'm sorry, but you're going to have to do a little bit better than that. again, we've existed for 100,000 years as a species. We've had this in our DNA, in our family genus for probably 10 million years. And really, it's from God. Really. Then why did, even in your own goddamn book, most people not believe in the God of Abraham?
It's right there. I'm like, of course they do. Of course they do.
Ah, fuck off. I'm done with this dickhead. Go check out the chat here in a little bit. All right. Let's see. YouTube. Apparently, I did get sent the link. YouTube.com. And we will Control V. And boom.
Let me ask you a question. Where does the power...
Oh, God, this sorry sack of shit. Fucking fuck. All right. You know what? This is kind of an impromptu one. What the hell? I'll deal with anarcho-capitalistic dick-face Mr. Drapiton, cocksucking douchebag.
Power of government end? Where does it draw the line and say, oh, we can't do that? I don't think there is a line. There are some states where giving blowjobs is illegal. Yes, they even control what you do in the bedroom with your partner.
Yeah, those laws are never enforced. The reason that we're 18 seconds into a 23-minute video. The reason those laws are on the book is to make rape more punishable. Okay? They have never once prosecuted a consensual couple sucking each other's genitalia. Okay? It's just a thing to make rape a little more worse.
It's getting ridiculous. The majority could just say, hey, I want to ban alcohol again, and the government will actually enforce that again. They can say, you know what? You're not allowed to have abortions. They can say, you're not allowed to smoke weed, which is a harmless leaf. They can say, well, you're gay, so you're not allowed to get married. I mean, it's illegal to collect rainwater in some states. As you can tell, some of those are...
Well, the problem with the rainwater is that it can affect other people, and if you don't properly take care of it, it can contribute to very nasty diseases, because there's very nasty diseases up in the atmosphere that don't go down here, except with rainwater. So if you want to collect rainwater, you have to treat rainwater. Okay? We got that now, dickhead?
Actually illegal right now in some states, but some of them are not. But the point is, tomorrow, if the majority decides that they should be illegal, the government will enforce it.
No. The Supreme Court legalized gay marriage over a majority of the population. It's just after that, the majority of the population stopped giving a shit. We have passed laws against the majority. We've done it time and time again.
What does this all mean? The majority, your stupid fucking neighbor, gets to control your life.
No, he doesn't. Okay, just
and you
go.
Say you're free. That's ridiculous to me. If you ask me, everybody should be able to do what they want as long as they don't harm another.
Okay. then we as a society have said that a 38-year-old cannot sleep with a 9-year-old. We have deemed this harmful. We have deemed this bad. We have deemed this wrong. But according to your theory, if the 9-year-old consents, then we can't do anything. So, where's your line?
And there is no victim. But you and your neighbors don't feel that way. They feel they need to control their neighbors and ban everything that they find slightly distasteful.
No. We're banning things that we find grossly distasteful. Again, if the woman, we know she's fucking her German Shepherd, we passed a law against that because a lot of us came together and probably 95% of us agree it's grossly distasteful. Now, again, there have been things passed because they go with the virtue of freedom and equality in the face of massive opposition. So I don't get where you're coming from. The reason we don't allow kids and adults to mingle is because kids are not capable of making decisions.
And those who want to live free have to go to prison. Let's just put it this way. 80% of U.S. prisoners are in there for victimless crimes.
Okay, and you can make an argument for that. And I certainly agree we should end the drug war and stop this minimum sentencing bullshit. But I don't think it's 80%.
There is no victim. And if you ask me, that means they shouldn't be in prison. If you ask me, if there's no victim, there's no crime. All they did was do something that somebody somewhere finds distasteful. Who cares?
Well, okay, again, you're not defining what a victim is. Again, what if a dairy farmer sells tainted beef? People willingly buy it.
If you really lived in a free society, you could do things people find distasteful. And now
we can now, dipshit. And by the way, I love this raw milk you have here. Do you know why we came up with pasteurization? To protect your stupid ass from brain parasites. Oh, and by the way, dickhead, any nutritional value that is found in raw milk versus pasteurized milk is negligible. Any benefit you might get from raw milk is negligible. Now, yes, I think that if somebody wants to shoot heroin up their own arms, they should be allowed. However, if a mom and a dad want to fuck their 5-year-old daughter and she's into it, I don't think that should be allowed. Why? Because she's too young to make that decision.
Not only do you let them just simply...
I also don't think a brother and sister should be allowed to fuck. Why? Well, it's bad for society because their kids are going to be fucking three-eyed, one-legged, cycloptic, retarded fuck faces. Okay?
Tell you what to do. You let them use violence against you if you disobey. Threaten you, you say. How does the government threaten you, you may ask? If you don't do what the government says, they 1. Extort you like a fucking criminal. 2. They can kidnap you and throw you in a cage like a fucking animal.
Okay, so they arrest you and throw you in prison. You don't do what they... I'm assuming you're talking about taxes. And the sad fact of the matter is look, nobody likes paying taxes, but they make our society function. What's your solution? Private roads? That'll be a nightmare. There are some things that the government has to control, and there are some things that, yes, we have to pay taxes for. I don't like paying taxes, but I know they're necessary. Okay?
And the government and your neighbor get to choose how long you stay in that cage. And it could be for the rest of your life if you're not lucky. And
no, typically we only send people to jail for life after they've done something very horrible.
Number 3, if you don't do everything that they say, you just disobey them one time, they will come to your house with guns and threaten you with them. And if you resist them...
How do I disobey them? If I steal something, I should go to jail. Again, I'm assuming you're talking about taxes. Again, I don't like paying them either. But the benefits of certain things being taxpayer funded, aka everyone funds them, far outweighs the benefits of having them privatized. Do you want to know how fucked up it'd be for you to get to work in the morning if the government decided to privatize the road system?
Extorting you or kidnapping you by fighting back, they will kill you. What I just explained is precisely what's wrong with government. The only trick it has...
I love how you don't even have the balls to show your fucking face.
The only thing it can do is bash people with a hammer. That's how it makes the world go round, is by violence. Now there's only 2 systems that you could use to make a society work. One I've already explained to you, which is the state, which obviously just uses violence to make people do things, and the elimination of freedom. Whereas the other system, the only other system, uses voluntary transactions and gets rid of violence completely. Yeah, not only does it take...
Really? There's been no... Look, I love capitalism. I do. But to say there's been no violence linked to capitalism is a little stupid. Oh,
being ridiculous. Whereas the other system, the only other system, uses voluntary transactions and gets rid of violence completely. Yeah, not only does it take violence out of the equation, it's a more efficient system. Everything the state does, the free markets can do better.
Really? You're willing to turn over snowplows, street cleaners, the roads, police, firefighters, prisons, courts to the private sector? How the fuck would that work? How in the hell would that work? Look, I'm all for limited government. I think, honestly, the government should stick to police, firefighting, the roads, some infrastructure, prisons, and the courts. That's where I think they should stick to. Everything else is horseshit. But you can't privatize a police force. Okay? That is just garbage.
And you can thank competition for that, but I'll get into that more later. And unlike the state, the free markets can't get rid of your freedoms. Whereas with the state, they can do whatever the hell they want.
Oh, fuck you! If we turned it over, if we turned states' rights over to Coca-Cola, they would make it illegal to buy Pepsi in certain states. And Pepsi would turn around and make it illegal to buy Coca-Cola in another state. You fucking idiot! That's why Coca-Cola has certain countries where they're the only brand of fucking pop there. And Pepsi has in turn gotten its countries and made it the only brand of soda available. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I can't deal with this. I'm sorry, guys. I can't fucking deal with this. I mean, this guy is just fucking ridiculous. I mean, I'm sorry, but god damn it. The free market, no, you would increase monopolies, which is exactly what happened in South America. That's why fucking diamonds cost so goddamn much. But according to my little counter here, I've gone on for, well, a little over an hour. And I believe this is where we're gonna cut this son of a bitch short. And so I've got the chat up now. If anyone would like to ask me a question, feel free. A couple of minutes before I close it out. I don't know. I as much as I love everyone that came over, I can't wait to get to my fucking old channel and stream from there. I wish I could schedule them, but I actually can't. So anyway, alrighty. Nothing's really coming in. I'm gonna just cancel this right now. Alrighty, this is it. This is Warcorp 666 signing off.